I'm Caleb with Randox Toxicology. I'm based in Dallas, Texas. I've been with the company for a few years now. I'm here with Shelton. He's the chief investigator over at Greenville County, South Carolina Coroner's Office. Thanks for being here today with me, Shelton. Tell me a little bit about your office.
So our office is staffed with a total of 21 people. 18 of those are investigators, 3 of them being administrative staff. Greenville, South Carolina is unique in the factor that we are a coroner state and coroner county. However, in our county, we also have a medical examiner that we partner with. We serve a population of approximately 600,000 and see about an average of about 6,000 cases a year.
Oh, wow. So, how many toxicology samples would you send out each year?
Well, I can tell you roughly last year, we probably did somewhere in the area of 700 and something autopsies. Most of those are going to have toxicology accompanying it.
Okay. And here at Randox, we have a in-office or an in-autopsy suite toxicology analyzer that you've had now for about 6 months or a year. What brought you to the multi-stat originally?
Well, first and foremost, earlier results. And we use a forensic toxicology lab that we send our specimens out to, but we're talking about a 2-week turnaround. 2 weeks, that kind of limits our law enforcement partners, our drug prevention partners on being able to get in front of something. So we want to get our numbers decreased in the overdose fatality realm. With the multi-stat, we can get results back in about 30 minutes. So currently in our office, the way we run it is if we have a case that is a suspected overdose or we don't have an obvious cause of death, then we also do the multi-stat test. That allows us to do multiple things. If we get positive findings, we report that to our law enforcement partners, which allow them to kind of get in front of things. But we also report it to our prevention partners and allows them to get in front of things as well. So I think all in all, for our county, it was the best option with the ultimate goal of decreasing these unnecessary overdose fatalities.
It sounds like you're using it as a very cooperative tool. Do you use it? Do you report out results from the multi-stat to law enforcement often?
We do. It's not our final result, if you will. It's more so like a triage tool.
Okay.
So it's a quick analysis to get that data out there so we can jump in front of things.
And have you seen an increase or increase in quality of the data that you've been able to provide to like the Department of Public Health or any of those overarching agencies with this?
Absolutely, we have. So uniquely enough, the same time that we got the multi-stat, we were also doing a grant with our case management software and OD map.
Okay.
So now what that's allowed is now that we have the multi-stat, we're getting in data into OD map, which everybody can see. We're getting it in there within a day of the death.
Oh, wow.
Whereas previously, you were looking anywhere from maybe a month or longer before that data was in there. So we have seen a benefit throughout our agency and other agencies as well.
So take me through the process. Obviously, the multi-stat was a big change for your office, it sounds like. When you got it, what changed in your workflow, or where in your workflow did you decide to institute the multi-stat?
So it's actually a very simplistic process, Caleb. We work the scene investigation. We have the decedent transported to our morgue, where the pathologist will do an autopsy. During the autopsy process, they draw us one gray top of blood. The deputy coroner is already in attendance at the autopsy. They then bring that specimen back to the office, and we run that test. It's that simple.
Oh, wow. And you're pretty much running on everybody, or?
We're running it on anyone that we don't have an obvious cause of death. So like our traumatic deaths, there's not really a need for us to run it on them. But our deaths that would likely be listed as pending, we're running it in those cases.
And I've heard from some other customers of ours that this has been a game changer for releasing decedent property. Is that something that your office does?
We do release property. I haven't really seen it in that realm
Okay.
be a game changer for us in releasing property. I do think, again, though, that it has been a game changer in just having that earlier data.
And as far as the overall atmosphere or environment that you work in, obviously the opioid epidemic is affecting everyone, but what do you see there in Greenville?
So, of course, we're seeing the same trends that everybody else is seeing. Most of our cases are fentanyl meth combined. We are seeing some xylazine stuff, but most of what we're seeing is fentanyl meth combined.
Okay. I'm interested to hear your thoughts about xylazine and hear how it's been affecting you. I know we do test for xylazine on our Toxiplex assay, and some of our users have found that to be very helpful because before they weren't testing for it at all. Has the xylazine assay helped your tracking of that? Were you testing for it before?
We were testing for it before. Of course, with the multi-stat and having that capability, it gives us earlier results. But I will say that for us, just in our county, every xylazine case we've also seen fentanyl. So with us using the multi-stat tool is more of like a triage base. If we're seeing fentanyl, then we may or may not see xylazine also. But fentanyl is going to be the cause.
And do you think the multi-stat has saved your office any money or any manpower time?
Absolutely, it has. In multiple aspects. Being able to have the data put into ODMAP earlier, that took out a human component there of having to get that data put in there and go back and backtrack getting it put in. But even on the toxicology aspect, so now there may be a case where substance abuse is the only question that we have. We run a test through the multi-stat. We find it to be negative results. We end up not doing an autopsy. We release the decedent.
Oh, wow.
So it has saved us in multiple areas.
Oh, that's a pretty big change.
Absolutely.
How many of those cases do you think you do per month or per year where you're not doing an autopsy? You guys would have.
At this point, I would say it's probably a handful. I mean, we're looking at like a 5 to 10 number.
Okay. But each of those is several $1,000s.
Absolutely.
That's a big cost saving. Well, and I guess my last question is, where do you see this product fitting into your office in the future? Like, are there things that you'd like to see on it? Or is there new tests that are new drugs that are emerging that you'd like to see tests for?
So I think one of the biggest benefits with Randox is the factor that you all are willing to design other tests. So we all know that the drug world, it changes daily.
It does.
There's new stuff coming out daily. So right now, I'm not going to say that there's a new test that we want to see. But that's not to say that tomorrow doesn't change everything, and there is a new test. And I think that's one of the benefits of working with Randox.
Xylazine's a great example of that, actually. Well, I appreciate your time and coming out here, Shelton. As always, it's good to see you.
Good to see you.
And is there any last things you'd like to say?
I think I'm good.
All right. Well, have a great day.
Thanks, Kevin.